Bob said Tinubu is trying to colonize them. Okay, colonize them in northern Nigeria by taking over their taxation. Here it says Zakayo Oyedeji Abina Ayodeji, the Tinubu's tax master, explaining their tax reform to the House of Representatives guys on record.
As an implementer, there is no way, and that's what I just want to emphasize. On derivation, I see there is mix-up between when people means derivation. We have in oil and gas to what we are doing now. If you look at oil and gas, what they use is that where do we produce? Because that is what we sell and we collect money on. So that is why it is limited to their state. VAT by any definition is a consumption tax. So if you will use derivation in VAT, what it means is that where is it consumed? Where do we make the call? Where the bank cannot pay today? Where is everything? So what the bill seeks to correct, which we all know, apology to Lagos State, is that the existing structure we have does not represent the intent of either the president or Nigeria. Today, I just read out the data for this month of October sharing. I just signed it on Friday. Lagos will take 42% of the VAT. Lagos. Rivers will take 16%. Oyo State will take 5.2%. FCT will take 11%. If you take that three states, go and check. That three states, they are taking more than 70%. Why? Because those are the places where head office of those companies are. And we know that the consumption, 70% of consumption are not happening in those three states. So in whatever way you look at it, there is no way every other state, apart from Lagos, Rivers, and FCT, every other state benefit. No, irrespective of formula, just correcting that principle. And that is the bill that is being presented. Because if you look at it, MTN contributed highest. But because MTN headquarters is in Lagos, all the addition to MTN is being approved to Lagos. So, with the wisdom, by God's grace, of these people's house, when this bill is passed, all states, including, because it's irrespective, I repeat it is irrespective of the kind of economic situation that is happening in many states in Nigeria. I will read it for you now. If you go to Borno today, based on the current structure, Borno are collecting 0.32%. That is less than half of the percentage. That is what they collect today. If you look at many states, Bauchi, they are collecting 0.4% today on the existing structure. And then when you look at Nassau Lagos collecting 42%, any day I sign this, I don't feel like Nigeria. Because this is not what we represent. We are here as a nation. And that is why, in the wisdom of the committee and the president, that irrespective of the way this thing will be, let's change this structure. And that is what we brought. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Looking at the time, and I'm sure my Muslim brother.
Imagine Borno State is collecting VAT of 0.32%. It's not even up to 1% of what is generated. Lagos State is collecting 42%. And the reason why is because the headquarters of some of these multinational companies, including oil companies, they are in Lagos. And they pay their supposed consumption tax there. What does that mean? Let me explain that to you. You know, say you are in Kano, for example, as he put it, right? MTN is the one paying the highest VAT in Nigeria. Yeah, I think they have the highest number of subscribers. Telecommunication industry pays the highest. After them is the oil industry. Yeah. Then after them, I think it is the consumables, the beverages industry. They pay. I don't have the exact figure, but I am going to use some random figure to explain this to you. If you are in Kano and you have MTN and you are loading, for example, 1,000 naira a month on your phone, MTN card of 1,000 naira. So the 10% of that would be, how much is that? I think it would be 100 naira. Yeah. So that means 100 naira per person. Even if 2 million subscribers in Kano loaded 1,000 naira every month. Okay. So that 2 million naira, 2 million subscribers every month will gain 200 million naira in VAT. But rather than pay the VAT to Kano State, it will be paid to Lagos State government. Similarly, if you are in Bayelsa and the VAT on your card is, it's paid to Lagos because that's where their headquarters is. If you have all these oil companies who also have their headquarters in Lagos. So if, for example, corn oil sold 200 million liters of petrol that they ship to all over Nigeria, and on each liter of petroleum, let's assume that the VAT on that is usually 7.5%. Okay, I'm just using a random figure there to use 10%, because I can't break my crack my head because I want to get the exact figure. But you could get the narrative that way, right? This is why Lagos State has more money. Okay, so others, they've tried, but it didn't really work out. So what that then means is that you may not be, your state may not be part of the top 3, but there are other consumables apart from telecommunication, okay? Apart from maybe the oil too, right? So if corn oil or Hando sold 200 million liters, and a liter is 1,000 naira. Okay, so that 1,000, let's use again 10%. So 100 naira. So 100 naira by 200 million liters. When you start taking the 100 naira, what you are going to get is going to be like a 2 billion naira. So when the headquarters do their own calculation, everything, they'll pay it to Lagos. So what this reform is now all about is that all of you should look inward in improving what will generate your own VAT that will be collected in your states. So the argument of others is that since Lagos State is where some of these businesses headquartered and the real money goes to, it is adequate for that money to be shared to all of them, because most of the people that contribute to the VAT that Lagos State is getting, they are not from Lagos. They are not in Lagos. They are in other places in Nigeria. But the way Nigeria is so structured in a way is that all these headquarters were supposed to be in Lagos for some reason, and I don't know why. Sure, you get now that if you're operating in Kano, if they take 200 million naira from people of Kano for MTN, it should be allocated to Kano, not to Lagos. But the reform is not doing that. It's not returning the money to them per se. No. The reform is saying that if you are contributing less than 1% of the money, we want you to improve on that, because we want to give back to everyone based on, percentage of what we think you are giving to the center. We will no longer share the money from other places with you. So let's assume that you have, let's use the airports, for example. The reason why Abuja and Lagos have all these choices is that these headquarters of these companies are shared between these two cities, Lagos and Abuja. That's why Abuja is also making so much money. I think it is, on IGR level, after Lagos is Abuja, and after Abuja is actually Ogun State. But that one is not really on the VAT, it's on the other taxes collected, IGR collected from the businesses operating in those places. So you get now. So what this reform is trying to now do is that, what the ones who are opposing the reform, what they are arguing is that if you want us to support this your reform of taxation that Tinubu is bringing, then they must actually restructure the collection process, which means if they take a VAT of 200 million or 300 million from Kano and is paid to Lagos because of the general accounting or whatever, right? That money should be given to Kano, because the people who use the service, they are in Kano. The consumers, and if VAT is consumers tax is called, consumption tax. So the people that consume this, right, they are in Kano. The money should return to Kano, not to Lagos. And if you cannot do that, then forget the reform. Continue to share the money based on the whole agreement. But they are saying, no, you should improve on your own other areas where we can tax and collect money so that you can have more money, okay, than what you will be getting if this reform is done. Because right now, if Bauchi contributes 0.4%, it's not even up to 1%. If, let's say, the total tax collected is, for example, 100 billion naira, for example, 100 billion, and 42% of that is from Lagos. 20% or 25% is from Abuja. And then Port Harcourt, River State, is contributing about, let's say, another 20%. So the rest, the remaining 33 states in Nigeria, or 34 states, are only contributing just less than 20%. So if you want to make this same balance, all of the oil companies should relocate, headquarters should relocate back to Niger Delta. Then you should open up the seaport in eastern part of Nigeria, in the Niger Delta region, as well as the international airports, so that everyone can have equal level playing field. Sure, you get. If you want to fly from America, you can fly to Owerri from the US, buy the ticket. So everything that will be spent in Owerri, the tax and all of that will be paid to them in Imo. The oil companies that are taking crude oil from Niger Delta and all of that stuff, they too, once all of their expatriates, their business partners and all that, once they are coming to Nigeria or leaving Nigeria, they fly straight to Port Harcourt, or they fly straight to Bayelsa, or fly straight to all these areas. Here you get. So that all the tariffs or taxations or consumables or everything that goes straight to Lagos, right? They can be spread all over the place. That then they can accept this your reform. But it's not going to happen. It's just talk. They will push what they are pushing, because their own argument is that it is not fair, okay, for the people of Lagos to be collecting 42% of the taxes on VAT in Nigeria and only taking back about 5% or 6%. The remaining money is shared to other places, places that barely contribute to 1%. Do you see the imbalance? Because Nigeria is a place where all they do is just rob Peter to pay Paul. So if they open the seaport in the eastern part of Nigeria, for example, more than 50% of all the all of the imports in Lagos will move down to the east. In fact, more than 70% of it will move down to the east. If they open up their international airports, when we say this is because the exclusive right to make that happen is not in the hands of the state. It is in the hands of the executive at the federal level. They can tell you that they are diverting some badges of import on a port, to Warri Port, to all this, those ports they name, but they are just like transits. They are not real ports. It didn't take them much time to open the Lekki deep sea ports in Lagos, a private seaport. After years of people asking that they should open up all the seaports in eastern part of Nigeria, in the Niger Delta region, that could have given economic boost to that region. That is why today, the combined 5 states of eastern Nigeria, all the revenue they are generating is not up to what Ogun State alone is generating because of the way Nigeria is structured. But guess what? Most of 70% of the importation in Lagos is done by the people of the eastern part of Nigeria. No joke. Do you see the imbalance? In the eastern part of Nigeria, they have to direct all their importation to Lagos, then ferry it or transport whatever they bring into the country to the eastern part of Nigeria and other part of Nigeria. Meanwhile, they are closer to the ocean in that place than they are in Lagos. But because Nigeria is deliberately structured in that way, that imbalance, so everybody have to come to Lagos. We can forgive the people from northern Nigeria. They do not have any access to the sea. But it's not the same with the people of the creek in Niger Delta. Now them and water. Now in fact, now inside water that they live. But their seaport their water is not dredged. Their seaport, River Niger alone, could serve as a huge seaport in eastern part of Nigeria if it's dredged to take massive vessel that could actually stroll in and drop all these containers at the River Niger and then move them to the hinterland of the eastern part of Nigeria, create jobs, boost the economy. So if that should happen, the eastern part of Nigeria will likely just be the richest part of Nigeria. I'm not kidding. Because if you go to Lagos, most of the importation there is done by these guys from the east. So if they open up the entire space of Nigeria, not that Lagos will be broke. Lagos will be broke. Okay? It will just open up prosperity everywhere. People will make a lot of money. Jobs everywhere. All those young people that have become idle hands, devil's workshop in the eastern part of Nigeria, they will be gainfully engaged. But because the way Nigeria is structured, the fear of the Igbos too, don't take that away. The fear of the Igbos is generational. They believe that if they should allow the Igbos to have their seaport, they are telling you that they are landlocked. People from the desert, the Sahel, Sokoto, and all these places, they are the ones telling those who are actually living next to the sea, they are telling you that they are landlocked. And because of that, they created these core states, Calabar, Ogoja, and Rivers, core. That's what Yakubu Gowon called them, core states. And they are calling them Niger Delta today. That, you know what, we'll cut them off so that we can now pretend to put the Igbos in the middle. and tell everybody that they are landlocked. They can't have their seaport. They can't have, even those ones who are from Niger Delta, they will tell you that we cannot let the Igbos, they don't need your own water. They have theirs that can be fully dredged, channeled, water channel that can take tens of huge, massive vessels that could actually open up the entire field, the entire space for everybody to thrive. But Nigeria believes that if they let that happen, it will just be a matter of time before the Igbos will declare Biafra again. Because then that means they could bring in all the needed weapons, all the needed mercenaries into their country and prepare for another war. And this time around, if that should happen, Nigeria will not survive it. And because of this, they have locked down or locked up the prosperity of Nigeria. The prosperity of Nigeria. Because it's not just the prosperity of the Igbos. The Igbos can go anywhere to make their money. Yeah, and I mean, you can see it. They can go anywhere to go and make their money. But they lock the entire place up. Today, Nigeria is wallowing in abject want and poverty because of this short-sightedness of these people. Lagos State is feeling being robbed. They feel like what looks like a blessing is also a curse. Everybody wants to come to Lagos from the politically structured imbalance of that country. Everybody would have to come to Lagos to run their business before going back to where they come from. Meanwhile, what they are looking for in Lagos is in abundance across Nigeria. It didn't take them long to open Lekki deep sea ports, private seaport for themselves, where Dangote is receiving ships that are loading its petrol and diesel, Abi. But it has been like forever conversation to keep Calabar port open, to dredge the River Niger, to keep the One port opened. Do you know the prosperity they have locked up in that areas? Do you know the millions of jobs that could have been created? Do you know the billions and billions of dollars that could have been made? If it is not this fear of they will break up, that has gripped the rogues of Nigeria. And everybody is suffering it. Everyone. Everyone. Not even international airports can be approved for them. They can't, see, they can build all the airports in the world. But the moment the federal government of Nigeria chooses never to make them international per se. I hear that people actually do fly from abroad to Enugu. But how many of those aircraft or airlines have been granted the permission to actually fly you to the place? Because the moment they allow that, the traffic in Lagos and Abuja will reduce. And if that should happen, there's going to be this obvious fact that the most traveled people in and out of Nigeria are the Easterners. They are the most traveled. So the traffic of most of this will just probably be more to the east. And before you know it, maybe some of you will begin to look for another job in Lagos and Abuja. True story. But that's what they think. If you open up the entire space, you open up opportunity here and there, you know what that simply means? You create competition. And that competition you are creating will make a lot of people to become creative. That's more money. More money. But it is Nigeria. All these things I am saying to you right now are just going to remain imagination, never to happen. Because it's not that they didn't know that they could do all of this. No, they do know. They do know that if they can do all of this, it will open up the place. It will create more prosperity. It will create more jobs. And yeah, you could probably be on your way out of poverty for real. But because it is Nigeria, no, they can't let that happen. No. You don't understand what you are talking about. If we should do that, this country will break up anytime soon. Okay, it's not breaking up. But now they do Bambiala, left, right, and center, the giant of Africa, with so much potential, but yet is a crippled giant of Africa. You criminalize self-determination, and yet you kept people in bondage, divided, and they will always want this contraption to break up because of the marginalization, because of the state-sponsored profiling, which is called the Cold War with the Igbos. You are keeping Nnamdi Kanu, militarizing the eastern part of Nigeria.